Hello everyone, my name is Leo Geyer and I'm a composer and conductor, and today I'm speaking to you in my capacity as a fundraiser. The purpose of today's session is to unravel the mysteries of the Arts Council investment principles, which is part of the new strategy by Arts Council called Let's Create. It's worth just saying a few things about the Let's Create strategy, which is quite different from what has come before. Specifically, it outlines in quite a lot of detail about how the Arts Council would like to see culture delivered across the UK. So perhaps unlike before, where you could go to the Arts Council with a project, this is much more about delivering work which really delivers on what the Arts Council is looking for. So it's an important difference. If you go onto the Arts Council website, you will find the Investment Principles Resource Hub, which is a terrifying webpage with a huge amount of information to read and digest. So what I'm going to try and do for you now is to boil some of that down so that you can at least grasp the concepts of all of this. But of course, there is a lot of further reading to do should you wish to. Firstly, is that there are 4 investment principles, but if you are applying for a project grant of under £100,000, the only investment principle that you are required to engage with is inclusivity and relevance. So firstly, let's just tackle that one. So you'll see the description that it has on the website, which is to say that inclusivity and relevance is about ensuring the creative and cultural sector better reflects and serves all communities across England. It is a commitment to achieving greater fairness, access and opportunity. So basically everything you need to know really is in that sentence. But if we just, 2 sentences rather, but if we just really unpack them for a moment, there are a couple of really important things. So firstly, that the creative and culture sector better reflects. So that's a really interesting point about what they want to see in terms of the artists and performers involved in the project, as well as also the people who are running and on the board of governors for particular projects, is that they really want to see that the diversity of the UK population is reflected in the performers and artists. So that doesn't necessarily mean that all of your performers should therefore be of ethnically diverse backgrounds or underrepresented groups, but that you have some representation of those communities in your projects. That is something that Arts Council are really keen to see. The second part of this is serves all communities across England. So again, it would be impossible to serve all communities in England, but what Arts Council does want to see is that you are legitimately finding opportunities for a diverse public to engage with your work. So if you were to go to Arts Council to put on a concert in a concert hall, that's going to be quite hard, because how are you trying to get the public to access your work? What they would be interested in seeing is perhaps you taking your work to specific communities, for example, to take your work to schools, to care homes, to different areas of the society, so that the public at large get a chance to engage with your work. So for the other 3 investment principles is that if you are going for project funding, you don't have to write about or engage with these particular principles. However, of course, your application will be stronger if you do. And it's particularly worth noting that you should engage with one of the investment principles if you feel that your project really does meaningfully engage with them. So it's not worth trying to kind of push it if it doesn't really work. So the next one is environmental responsibility. So this is about the Arts Council trying to encourage organisations to act upon climate change. So what they want to see is that you are basically really thinking about what your carbon footprint will be in the project that you are doing. So it may be that you still have some learning and some data collection and some evaluating to do before you can confirm what your carbon footprint will be. And that's okay to actually write in the application to say that you are thinking about your environmental responsibility, and you're going to really analyse what it is that you do throughout your project, and that you'll have some useful conclusions so that when you come to do future projects, you'll then be really in the know about how to do it better in the future. So the other thing worth saying is that it's really great if you can engage with different organisations which are providing information to help with making sure your carbon footprint is at zero or as close to as possible. So that includes an organization called Julie's Bicycle, and you can put in some information about your project, and you can work out what the carbon footprint will be. Arts Council really like to see that you have been quite proactive in engaging with an organization such as that to share information, to review your work. The next investment principle is dynamism. So this is about responding to the challenges of the next decade, and it means having a business model that is flexible and able to adapt to changing environments. So again, it's only worth engaging with this if you really feel that you have something to say, and it may not be that you do in terms of your project. But the sorts of things that you might be talking about is how you have established some virtual methods of delivering your work, and how that is not only really great in terms of reducing the carbon impact of your work, but also it enables access because people who perhaps can't travel can engage with their work. You might say that you have a really impressive board of governors who are really flexible and knowledgeable, and that they can change and move different projects to adapt to current situations. And then we have ambition and quality. So the Arts Council describes this as being ambitious and committed to improving the quality of your work. It involves understanding how you are perceived by those within and outside your immediate circle, and how that fits with your plans and activities. So the important thing is that I think the words ambition and quality kind of suggests that you should just be talking about how fantastic your artists are and how brilliant your work will be. But actually, this is actually more about learning. And so it's to say how much you're going to be responding to what people think about your work, about the fact that you might be reaching out to other organizations to find out how they do their things, about how you can learn from that, how you can engage with environmental networks where you can learn about how you can reduce your carbon footprint and those sorts of things. So it's actually much more about learning and then putting that learning into practice rather than necessarily showing off about how wonderfully brilliant it all is. So that's basically all I have to say about the investment principles. I've tried to keep it as short as possible, and of course there is much more to read, and the rest I can say to you really is best of luck.